Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Laura. I'm the owner of LS Training. I'm a personal trainer and nutrition coach based in Seattle, Washington. So if you saw my last video, we were talking about nutrition for muscle building. So that is basically part one of this two-part series. Today we're going to be talking about how to build muscle with your workouts. So we're just going to jump right on into it. So as I said in part one, we want to create what's called an anabolic environment. Remember, catabolic means breaking down. Anabolic is building up. So we want to make sure we're creating an environment in our bodies, especially via nutrition, where we are indeed having a calorie surplus. So we're having an environment where our body can build up. So how do we build muscle with training? We want to be inducing what's called hypertrophy. So every time we work out, we are essentially creating little micro damages in our muscles. So our muscle fibers are going through little itty bitty bits of trauma, and that they can heal from fairly quickly and easily. And because you're healing from this trauma, your muscles come back bigger, stronger, more powerful, etc. So we want to be creating what's called hypertrophy, and we can do that by using a specific set, rep, and range, rest ranges. Now you don't have to be perfect with these. You want your sets to be around 3 to 6, reps 8 to 15, rest 60 to 100-ish seconds, and you want to be using weight that's moderate to difficult. You want to be creating mechanical and metabolic stress on your body. So mechanical stress or fatigue can be seen when you take a lift or an exercise to failure. For example, you can be doing incline push-ups, so with your feet up on like a bench or a chair and your hands on the ground. You can be doing that until failure, and then you can be doing normal push-ups until failure, and then you can do hand elevated push-ups until failure. That'll be a form of mechanical fatigue or stress. You can but you also, with creating mechanical stress, you're also creating metabolic stress. So basically, you're creating an anaerobic or oxygen deprived environment. You are fatiguing those muscle fibers, all the little cross bridges in your muscles. You're inducing muscular damage by working the muscle to exhaustion or fatigue. All of those things are going to help drive hypertrophy, especially when coupled with appropriate nutrition and recovery. So what should those workouts look like then? Well, you want to really be focusing on compound lifts. Remember, when you are in the gym, you want to not only get a good workout in terms of how difficult it feels, because difficulty and how hard a workout feels doesn't necessarily correspond to results that you want. So you want to be focusing on those compound lifts, such as squat, bench, deadlift, overhead press. The reason why we use big compound lifts such as these is because they are targeting specific muscle groups. So squat obviously is targeting the lower body, but it's also a great exercise to target your deep core muscles, your back, your shoulders, all of that. So bench is the same way. It does target more upper body, but you have to be able to use your whole body, coordinate all of your muscles and your muscles' firing patterns, your recruitment, in order to do that lift efficiently. Same goes for deadlift, same goes for overhead. When it comes to frequency in the gym, you want to be trying to train each muscle group twice a week. A lot of research has shown that training twice a week legs or twice a week arms is more effective than just training each muscle group once a week. But after you go past twice a week, there's not much more gains for how much more work you're doing, if that makes sense. Alright, so when it comes to how many times a week to train, so a lot of research has shown that training 2 times a week is better than training once a week, but training more than twice a week doesn't necessarily yield more results than training just twice a week does. So basically, you are getting a lot more results and gains from training twice a week, but if you go past that, you won't necessarily see more improvements as you train more. So there's kind of a sweet spot to it. So for example, if you were going to train 4 times a week, here's my little, hopefully that, it looks mirrored to me in my screen, so hopefully it's not to you. But basically 4 times a week of training, you're going to have 2 lower body days and 2 upper body days. So in order to make sure that you are not over fatiguing specific muscle groups, and you're not causing too much induced fatigue so that you're not too sore, we're going to split it into lower, upper, lower, upper. And each day is going to be focusing on different muscle groups within the lower body and different muscle groups within the upper body. My training split looks similar to this, except I train 6 times a week, so it's has 3 It has 2 lower and 4 upper body days, so it's a little bit different. But this is fairly similar to the kind of muscle groups that I hit on each day. So on day 1, you have squats. So that'll be your main compound lift of the day. Typically, I try to train these main compound lifts for strength. So squat, you might do like 5 sets of 5, 4 sets of 6. So your reps and sets are moderately low, so you can be pushing a lot heavier weight. And you always want to do this at the beginning of a workout so that you are not fatigued for those heavier, more intense sets. And then on that upper body day, on day 2, we're going to be hitting bench, just a normal bench. So again, I would do more strength focused reps and sets, so like a 5x5 or 4x6, unless you are in more of a training block that is focusing more on volume. And then on that first upper body day, chest and triceps will be your main accessories. So on day 1, it was quads, and then day 2, chest and triceps. And those reps and sets will be more hypertrophy focused and based. So day 3 is going to be lower body again, because we had lower and then upper, so we should have had time for our lower body to recover, so we're ready to hit lower body again. And that third day or second lower body day is going to be deadlifts. So again, I like to have that main compound lift be more strength focused, so 5x5, 4x6. 3x8 would be getting a little bit more into that volume range, so you won't necessarily be able to push the amount of weight necessary to induce strength gains. And then plus deadlifts aren't that great for necessarily increasing muscle mass unless you do it with a very emphasized eccentric portion. And then the accessories that we'll focus on are glutes and hamstrings, and I chose all these accessories for a reason. So on that squat day, we focus more on quads because squats tend to be a little more quad dominant than deadlifts do. I chose chest and triceps on bench because those are your main movers, especially on a bench press. And then deadlifts, you have glutes and hamstrings because deadlifts really help to recruit the posterior chain. So you'll be doing a lot of glute and hamstring work already on the deadlift. So when you go into your more higher volume, hypertrophy focused reps and sets for glute and hamstring exercises, then you're essentially just getting more bang for your buck, and you've already hit these muscle groups in a strength focused manner, and then now you can kind of follow up and really fatigue and induce that mechanical and metabolic fatigue that we talked about. And then finally on the last day of your training week, so you can do like day 1, day 2 rest day, and then day 3, day 4. You don't have to do all these 4 days in a row, just putting that out there. But your 4th day, overhead press, so that's where you have a barbell or dumbbells. You're essentially just putting straight up. So overhead press would be your compound movement of the day. Again, I would keep it more strength focused personally, but you can by all means do higher reps and sets if you want more volume, but I like to make sure I'm still building a good amount of strength. Plus 5 sets of 5, 4 sets of 6 isn't really maximal strength, it's building more base strength. So you won't be lifting weights like a powerlifter at 5x5 and 4x6. And then I chose shoulder and biceps for the hypertrophy accessories because when you're doing overhead press, you're really focusing on the shoulders, obviously. And I chose biceps because we've already worked triceps, so we got to work both sides. And then these accessories, can just look like overhead presses, Arnold presses, lateral raises, bicep curls, hammer curls, all that good stuff. So if I was to add more to this, I would probably add back work to the deadlift day, just because you are working that whole posterior chain. I just forgot to write that down, but I would add a lot of hypertrophy focused back work like rows, upright rows, lat pull downs, all that kind of good stuff. So to summarize, you just got to remember that when you are training and doing resistance training to induce hypertrophy, you want to make sure you're causing mechanical fatigue, so that's when your form starts to break down a little bit, but you're not going to a dangerous point. And you want to be inducing that metabolic stress, so that's where you create anaerobic or oxygen deprived environment, and you're really inducing fatigue on those muscles. Remember, effort and fatigue are really what's going to be big drivers of muscle growth. That's why especially new exercisers, they'll still see muscle growth even on programs that are not necessarily optimal for muscle building or hypertrophy. So that is it for today's video on muscle building. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, my name is Laura. I'm a personal trainer and nutrition coach based in Seattle, Washington. If you have any questions, please go ahead and leave them down in the comments below. I will also leave my email in the description below, and you can reach out to me on there if you have any questions. I'm gonna also link my Instagram, Facebook, all the social media stuff you need in the description. So please go ahead, follow me on Instagram, like LS Training on Facebook, and I will see you all in the next video, guys.